for the fantasy baseball season, and here's a few pitchers I look to buy and trade for this week. The first guy, Blizack, Cleveland Guardians. So Blizack, we know he's been a solid starting pitcher over the last few seasons, but this season here, he's gone totally the other way, and he's not getting things going for this Guardian team or fantasy owners. So on the season here for Blizack, 26 and a third, 1-3 record, 29 hits, 13 earned runs, 8 walks, 16 strikeouts, 1 quality start for Blizack on the season. 4.44 ERA and a 1.41 whip. So right here, Blizack, the last few outings, he's been hit hard. And I think he still could turn things around. I know the Guardians aren't that good of a team, but right now he's even available in 47% of fantasy leagues is Blizack if you don't even have to trade for him. So the last few games here for Blizack, April 21st versus the White Sox, 6 2/3, got the win. 7 hits, an earned run, a walk, 3 Ks, a quality start. April 27th at the Angels, 3 2/3, got the loss in that one. 7 hits, 6 runs, 2 walks, 2 Ks. And then last night versus San Diego, 5 innings, got the loss. 5 hits, 4 runs, 4 walks, and 4 Ks. So the walks have been a problem. He's been giving up the home run ball as well. That's been a pretty big problem here for Blizack. And I know he don't play on the greatest of teams here with the Guardians, but he's still a guy that last season he went out there and he pitched good baseball. And the season before that, he was pretty decent as well. So I think Blizack, it's early in the year still. I know he's been dropped in a lot of fantasy leagues, but right now you could trade him and pretty much give up nothing. And it's a low-risk, high-reward type of move, no doubt about it. The next guy, Luis Garcia of the Houston Astros. So Garcia last season, he was pretty solid in his first full season as a full-time starter for the Houston Astros team. And so far this season, he's been middle of the pack, 21 2/3, 1-1 record, 16 hits, 10 runs, 5 walks, 19 Ks, a quality start, 4.15 ERA, and an 0.97 whip. So Garcia, he's on a pretty good team, obviously, still here in Houston. I still think they're one of the best teams, if not the best team in the West. And it's going to take Garcia a few games maybe to get things going once again. The last 2-3 outings haven't been that friendly to him, even though he's still gone 6 innings. He's just not pitching that good of baseball. April 18th versus the Angels, 5 2/3, got the win. 4 hits, 3 runs, a walk, 7 Ks in that one. April 24th versus Toronto, 6 innings, 5 hits, 5 runs, a walk, 6 Ks. And then April 30th at Toronto, 6 innings, tough luck loser, 5 hits, 2 runs, a walk, 5 Ks in that one, and a quality start. So on the season, only 1 quality start here for Luis Garcia. But I know he's a talented pitcher, and he's got a good offense behind him as well here. So right now, well, he's only got 1 win and 1 quality start on the season. It's a perfect time to go out there and get him. Because last season, at times, he was dominant and one of the best pitchers on this Houston Astros staff. And his next outing, he's got a pretty good matchup versus the Detroit Tigers May 6th. So right now, before he goes out there and possibly has a big game versus Detroit, I would try to make a trade for him now before his value goes up and you got to give up more than you would had to a couple days ago. The next guy is Ranger Suarez of the Philadelphia Phillies. So Suarez last season, he was pretty solid in the second half of the year, where he became a starter after becoming a former closer for this Philly team. So on the season here for Suarez, 23 1/3, 2-1 record, 28 hits, 12 earned runs, 10 walks, 15 Ks, and a quality start on the season with a 4.63 ERA and a 1.63 whip. So Suarez here, he's got a great offense behind him over there in Philly. I know he plays in a tough NL East with good hitting teams like the Mets, Braves. Obviously, even Washington can hit the baseball a little bit, and the Marlins have been surprising so far. So right here, Suarez, he's a good pitcher, I think. Last season, we saw good things out of him after getting stretched out in the second half of the season with Suarez. So right now, he's in this Philly rotation, and Philly, they need guys to step up here to compete with the pitching in their division. But if this Philly offense gets hot here, Suarez and the rest of this pitching staff is going to have a lot of run support. So the last few games here for Suarez, April 27th versus the Rockies, 6 innings, got the win, 7 hits, 3 runs, a walk, 3 Ks, a quality start. And then May 3rd versus Texas, a bad ball game, 5 innings, got the loss, 6 hits, 3 runs, 2 walks, 3 Ks. So right here, Suarez, he's a guy that could go out there, and when he's on, he could go 6 or 7 innings. He's got the good offense behind him. And once the weather warms up here, I think this offense is going to break out for this Philly team here. And these pitchers, they're going to go 5-6 innings where they don't even have to go that deep into games and get wins under their belt and pitch, obviously, without that pressure of keeping the game close, because this offense is too good in Philly to be held down. And it's going to help guys like Suarez and an Aaron Nola and a Gibson as well, and everyone getting that extra run support where they could go out there and just throw normal. So right here, I think Suarez could turn things around. And we saw last season, he was pretty good as a starting pitcher. The next guy, Alex Wood of the San Francisco Giants. Alex Wood, he was very good last season with this Giant team that won 107 games. And so far this year, a mediocre season, 24 and 2/3. 2-2 record, 25 hits, 12 earned runs, 7 walks, 26 strikeouts on the season with a 4.38 ERA, a 1.30 whip. So right now, he's not got a quality start under his belt, this Wood. And last season, it was total opposite. 9 quality starts under his belt and a nice 10-4 record with a very low ERA. But the last few games here, he just hasn't gone deep into ball games. And he's not really getting anything going. April 23rd at Washington, 5 innings, got the win, 4 hits, 2 runs, a walk, 5 Ks. April 26th, Washington, 5 innings, got the loss, 8 hits, 5 earned runs, a walk, 3 Ks. And then May 4th, last night at the Dodgers, 5 1/3, got the loss, 4 hits, 3 runs, 2 walks, 7 Ks. So Wood here, he's had some pretty easy matchups the last couple outings, besides obviously at the Dodgers, and he couldn't get the job done. He's not going deep into games. Well, we know he's a very talented pitcher. We saw it last season, and we've even seen it early in his career for Alex Wood with the Los Angeles Dodgers and the Atlanta Braves. So right here, he's a solid pitcher. He's on a solid team. I know he's in a tough division, obviously, with the Padres and the Los Angeles Dodgers here with 2 great hitting teams, but this guy last season was good, and I don't think it was a fluke. So right now, while he's struggling and not going deep into ball games, he's definitely a guy I would go out there and try to make a trade for, and I don't think you got to give up much to get him. He's been dropped in 4% of fantasy leagues as well, and the 5th and final pitcher I look to buy and trade for this week's Aaron Nola, another Philadelphia Philly. So Nola this season, it's been a mixed bag of results, 27 and 2/3, 1-3 record, 21 hits, 12 earned runs, 5 walks, 34 strikeouts, 2 quality starts, a 3.90 ERA, and a 0.94 whip. So right there on the surface, not bad numbers, but there's a couple games this season here where Nola just didn't do much, but the last 2 outings, he's definitely been solid. And his next outing is today versus the New York Mets once again, where he pitched pretty well, but was a tough luck loser, not getting a run support in that one versus the Mets in his last outing. So the last few outings here for Nola, April 18th at the Rockies, 5 1/3, got the loss, 6 hits, 2 runs, a walk, 4 Ks. April 29th versus the Brewers, 7 innings, no decision, a hit, no runs, a walk, 9 Ks, a quality start. And then April 29th at the Mets, 6 innings, got the loss, 7 hits, 3 runs, 9 Ks, and a quality start. So like I mentioned earlier with Suarez in this video, this Philly team, they're not scoring runs here for Nola. The last 3 games at the Rockies, they scored 1 run. Then the next game versus Milwaukee, 0. And then versus the Mets, 0. So right here, this team, they got to get hitting. And then Aaron Nola have more fantasy value. Because the last 2 outings, he's definitely gone out there and pitched pretty good baseball. And has been the tough luck guy in that ball game. So right here, well, his team's not hitting for him. And he's got another tough matchup here today versus the Mets, where it could go either way. I would go out there and try to make an offer for Nola, because last season was a down year for him. 2 seasons ago, he was in the Cy Young hunt. But right now, before he gets hot and gets going for good, this is a perfect time to buy him low, because Nola, in my opinion, very talented pitcher, and a guy who could be a top of your fantasy staff for the remainder of the season. So that's a few pitchers I look to buy and trade for here for week 4 of the fantasy baseball season.